Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I was asked to give some concluding remarks, kind of a summary. Well, the best summary is indeed thank you for an afternoon so full of ideas, knowledge, expertise, and commitment. And thank you very much for the strong backing of the general direction of the Social Action Plan of the Commission and the 2030 social targets. And it is impossible for me to summarize all this precious knowledge of this afternoon in the 3 different workshops that we've heard. But let me just, with a broad brush, reflect a little bit on the 3 targets. And I would like to start with fighting poverty. A child in poverty. How can we help children out of poverty? We all know what it needs. First of all, give the parents a job, work, to earn an income for the family. And for that we need the employers. For that we need the trade unions. But for the parents to go to work, for the single parents to go to work, you need good childcare. Good childcare, an offer of all day long, not only because the children are being taken care of, but yes, children need their parents, but children also need other children. So give them good childcare. And I look at the heads of state and government, you know the topic. And then children in poverty need access to the basic needs. The basic needs is education indeed, it is health, it is a warm meal per day at least, it is sports, it is music, it is other children. We all know the ingredients. And as long as the Commission can support with the European Social Fund, but also with the cohesion funds, and if the heads of state and government do their input, and if from the social partners, the organizations we have here, the input comes, well, we come back to the knowledge, the old wisdom that says it takes a whole village to raise a child. And in this case, the whole village is Europe. And my second thought is on jobs. Indeed, here too, we need a strong single market. The heads of state and government, we need innovation and digital improvement, future-proof clean technologies. We know that we need a competitive economy. We need it open to global trade. But indeed, it is also about wages, fair wages. And yes, I am a strong believer of collective bargaining. I'm a strong believer of strong trade unions and employer associations. They know exactly all the details and they can bargain a really targeted, tailor-made wage that is necessary. But if they are not there, if you have no trade unions in place in a region or a sector, if there are no employer associations that always are caring for the fairness among the employers, well, you cannot say, well, then there is no minimum wage. Then we need alternative proposals. And that's what the framework is for, to give a guidance for the process, how you can find an appropriate, tailor-made minimum wage in such cases. I prefer the collective bargaining. This is the crown jewel. This is the best. And it shows that is a typical European institution, the collective bargaining. But if it's not there, we need to find a process to give a decent wage to people who work all day long, that at least they can live of what they work for. And the third point is skills. Indeed, there is no thriving economy without people with the right skills. And we know the recipes. The best and noble task for our member states is good schools. good schools is a wonderful task to fulfill, incredibly difficult, and it's never going to be perfect, that's for sure. But it's also dual vocational training for young people, because we see that if the dual vocational training is in place, and we need the employers, we need the trade unions for that, but we also need the educative infrastructure by the governments. If you have it in place, you train the demand for tomorrow, because the small and medium enterprises and the businesses connected to dual vocational training know exactly what the future market needs, because they know what they need for their economy. It is the entry ticket for youth in the job market, the training on the job. And indeed, in an aging society, we will need to go through lifelong learning, upskilling, reskilling, and there too the infrastructure has to be provided by all those here. And that brings me to the very last point. It was just a broad brush for an incomplete picture of all the wisdom that was assembled here in this afternoon. What is so special about this summit? What is so special about Porto? Nowhere in the world would you find another continent where you can assemble in an afternoon this diversity of groups and people that all discuss in the same direction. That is Europe at its best, that we are here together, that we are committed, that we are willing to bring all the input to make it happen. You have the knowledge, we have the knowledge. You have the power, we have the power. And this is the spirit of Porto. Thank you, Antonio, for that.